Whoa. So, what are you hearing about me online?
Yeah, what's the word on the street? Well, I know you're from Louisiana, and I know you're going to play a little something for us at the end here. So, but I kind of want to talk about where you come from and how you got started. How was growing up in Louisiana, and how'd you get into music?
My mom kind of sung in church a little bit, and music was always a real big part of my life, but it wasn't until after I finished college and broke up with my college sweetheart that I started writing songs, and I opened a bar, not too different from this. We had live music, and it's kind of after the folk scare, the Oh Brother Where Art Thou came out, and people started really writing songs. So I went back and because being from Louisiana, that's the source, the Mississippi Delta. That's a source for a lot of inspiration and desperation and all kind of things. So I traced back the songwriters that moved me, and they were just writing about everyday stuff. So, I guess the trinity would be Woody Guthrie, Jimmy Rogers, and Lead Belly. And so in college, we went and we'd go to Angola State Penitentiary on field trips. I was taking these criminal justice classes. And my first album, which I wrote when I got back to Louisiana from Texas. I'd moved to Texas for a little while. I got back working in the Atchafalaya Basin, which was the biggest cypress forest in the world at one time, and then we clear cut it. But it's still a beautiful place, and working out there and just being on the land where your forefathers were, that was a big inspiration. And so when it comes to the state penitentiary, I went on a couple field trips when I was a student there, and then later on, I gave my first album to some of the guys there that were in the prison band, because they do the music when they open up the gate, for the bulls and all that stuff, and they had this thing called convict poker, and they all these cool things. But the guys that were there, you listen to their story, you realize they're not that much different from you. And so we're able to get them strings and guitars and stuff like that. So anyway, at some point, the prison band was traveling, and I had this little honky tonk in Scott, Louisiana, and I booked them to play, and they didn't even know that I had booked them, so they get to travel around and play. We opened the back of that Ryder truck up. I said, I told y'all some bitches I was going to get you out one day. and we played all different music from people that were locked up in the prison. So we played Freddie Fender songs, and another guy came and did some Lead Belly stuff, and some old blues. There was a guy named Pete Williams that was locked up there. And so we did kind of a ode to a lot of those folks that were locked up. The Neville brothers were there. I mean, it was a lot of Louisiana's most talented people actually did some time in that penitentiary, which is really a plantation,
Yeah.
So anyway, moving on from there, like I said, went to Texas for a little while, and I think what I do is a lot like a lot of these Texas songwriters, like Robert Earl Keen. I opened up for him 3-4 times. I know that scene. I like it, but I think what I do is a little more South Louisiana, Mm-hmm. And so anyway, 20 years ago, I hopped on a train and got one of these Amtrak tickets where you get unlimited stops. And I'd stop and see cool stuff. He got off, hiked up over by Chief, and went to a hike called Shangri-La. It's the closest I ever felt to connected to God or Creator or whatever. And then in 2015, I was finishing a film about the long-term effects of the oil spill. I hit a oil waste 18-wheeler that was headed north from Grand Isle.
Oh, whoa.
And it was a life changer. And I was sitting in the hospital and said, man, I get to where I can walk halfway decent again. I'm going to go back up there where I felt connected to the Spirit, and moved up to the Blackfeet Reservation. Took some classes to learn the language. That was 9-10 years ago. Now I got a 6-year-old Cajun Blackfoot daughter, and I don't know how much I'm part of that culture, but they're part of my culture now. And I got a lot of good friends over there, and there's a lot of beauty and tragedy and this, that, and the other. But you know what? ain't too many tourists there in the wintertime, so.
Nope. You'd be hard-pressed to find one, yeah.
Yeah, so it's real.
I was listening to your song Last Man Standing, and I got kind of the vibe that your music can kind of delve into politics a little bit.
Yeah.
And it seems like something that's important to you. Was it always a priority to kind of get that in your music?
No, I can't not do that. I don't want to do it. The Last Man Standing. That's a song that, I wrote a long time ago, and it's just as pertinent today as it was when I wrote it. The last line is, ain't no need to crown a king, I just hope I ain't the last man standing. And I had the opportunity to play for Chris Christopherson, and he said, I hope you ain't either, Hoss. And it was like, he heard that song, went out and told the crowd, man, I just heard the best song I heard in 30 years, and really said some awesome things. And so when it comes back to it, when Chris wrote those songs after that last Gulf War, those are real songs. It made you think about the consequences of our actions and the truth that we bombed a country back to the Stone Age. It had nothing to do with those buildings going down. And so today, look at what's happening in California and think about, is that, in your heart of hearts, are we handling that the right way? Should it really be about locking people up that are trying to work? Or should it be about actually taking care of the people that are committing crimes and finding a pathway for people who want to be part of our country? I don't know. But for me, it's the latter. It's like, man, anybody that's trying to make a legal living, I think we should not deter them from, being part of this country. Because at the end of the day, my people were kicked out of Nova Scotia because we learned how to farm real good by the English, and we wound up in the swamps of Louisiana, or I wouldn't be up here, So politically, I just try to tell the truth. I did this one song for the oil spill in 2010. I had some folks I knew that had jumped off the rig. I had friends that were commercial fishermen. I mean, we were in a bad way for a long time, and that fishery still hasn't recovered, but not like it should, and maybe it never will be the same way it was. But I think moving up here was just finding a place that you can go on a hike in a pristine, the east side of the park is still vastly untouched by man, and I just feel real lucky to be able to be in a seated strip over there. It's a pretty amazing place. So, my hope is some of those songs made a difference. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. And I think if you really piss somebody off with a song, you also had to make them think a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes all you can do.
What's inspiring you songwriting-wise recently?
My daughter.
Okay.
We're just writing little songs. She's got one, Hold Me Like a Baby. And it's also important just turn off your phone, go for a little hike, I mean, if there's not some positive thing you have to say at the end of a song, you're just kind of bringing people down. So no matter how sad the song is, hopefully there's a happy ending, a little bit of one at least, a little half rainbow or something.
Yeah, something to grab onto.
Yeah, exactly.
Kids are inspiring.
Yeah.
And she's 6, that's a fun age.
She's 6, and she's a very athletic, smart young lady, and I'm excited because I get to show her some of the things that I love, things even like, songs, cartoons I watched when I was a kid,
Yeah.
Just think about all life really is it's passing something on to the next generation. And there's certain places they'll always be home, but I think one thing I've realized as I've gotten older is that you can go back to where you lived before. You can go here, there, or the other, but you can't go back to that place in time. So you got to make wherever you're at a good place for your kids and create some decent memories, no matter what's going on with the world. The world's always going to be in turmoil, So I think it's just enjoying your time here on the planet, You ain't got that many years. Boy, you start getting around late 40s, it flies now.
Oh man, I mean, I'm in my late 20s now, and it feels like it's sped up already.
Oh, you're a kid. You're a kid.
How did you end up on a stage with like David Allan Coe and some of those legends?
David Allan Coe was coming to a bar near where I live, and early on I was fearless, man. Anybody I saw was coming, I'd email them, man, can I open up for this dude, tell him my story, and maybe I was 25% in, and then but yeah, David Allan Coe was cool. He was old and he couldn't hear very well. Actually, his steel player said if they were too close to a casino, he might not make the show.
Oh.
But, the dude was a great songwriter. He really was. Robert Earl King was a pretty cool guy. I opened up for him in Louisiana a bunch of times. One time at Red Ant's Pants, we played before those guys. Haggard played that festival. That was an incredible thing to watch Merle play. There's a guy back home that used to play fiddle with him that I knew real well. And I think, as more and more of those folks go, my heroes. Johnny Winter was another cat that, man, getting him to play, watching him play that Firebird, oh, that was cool. But, as that generation passes, maybe I got a chance to fill some shoes, I don't know. But when I first started, there was no, Jason Isbell, there wasn't any Sturgill, nobody had broken through cookie cutter, really crappy country music. And so when I did this song for the oil spill, it's called BP Blues. I spent some time on the coast. It went viral because I sang it to the oil spill commission. And I signed with Warner Brothers. And I was like, man, all right, finally, not only did I write a song for a cause that's going to make a difference, but, they're going to pay for the recording. Awesome. So, that worked out okay. But by the time the song was finished, ready to be released, the well was capped. I didn't realize till years later that dude that owned BP Russia, some oligarch, had bought Warner. So that wasn't coming out.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about the health effects of the spill, but still in all, I did my best and I figured it out. And now, I wrote a song last night. It's kind of about what's going on in what's going on in this weekend. There's going to be a huge military parade, and they're deporting a lot of people and trying to declare martial law in California. I don't know. It's kind of what it looks like to me. There's a lot going on right now. You know what I'm saying? And are we going to continue to, in the history of our country, anytime somebody offers perceived safety for freedom, and it never ends well. Yeah. So we'll see how this goes. But I guess now, this is another generation of the same thing happening, right? So maybe music's part of that, maybe not, I don't know. But I feel what's happening. I write a little song here about it. I don't always record them, and this one may never have gotten recorded otherwise, but it was in my heart to write last night, so I wrote it. About 2-3 years ago, I was working at community college in Browning. Did some good things there. I really enjoyed my time, doubled food production, had a community garden, took kids hiking, took kids on buffalo hunts, got to do all kind of cool stuff. It was incredible for me, and I learned a lot about the culture, and I feel like at least I have enough of an understanding of it I'm grounded enough to know how to keep my daughter safe there and still be part of that culture. So anyway, I was like, I got to get back to playing music because I moved here after I got in this wreck with this 18-wheeler, right?
Gotcha.
Finally, I slowly started going. I'd take trips home, record. The album started getting wrapped up a couple years ago. And we'll put it out by the end of summer. I started getting real gigs again. Should we talk about Under the Big Sky?
Oh, yeah.
So the way I got in there is I started building stages over there. I was like whatever I have to do. So I've been helping the crews build the stages and kind of do that stuff. And probably 3 years ago, I sat down with my daughter. There's that little stream that goes by one of those stages,
Yeah.
We watched, I think, Lainey Wilson or some girl that was on Yellowstone later that year. I got I need to be up there one day, and I believe I will be. And it's took a couple years, but you know, for my daughter to be able to watch me play on June 20th in the afternoon, that's going to be great.
That's so
maybe
cool.
she'll be playing in the stream. Maybe she'll come sing a song with me, you know?
That's such a dream. July 20th?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But it also, I understand how much planning goes in it, why they can't just hire anybody, this, that, and the other, you know? I mean, they put on a really big event. And I also understand, you know, the good and the bad of it, you know, because there's so many people moving here that local people can't really afford to live here anymore, you know? And I don't know, man. Tell them old snowbirds, you know, unless you can make it through a winter in Montana, you probably don't need to be moving here, you know?
Right? Yeah. They get a little less tough when the winter comes around, for sure, with Under the Big Sky. And I, you know, like someone who lives here, I like it when they showcase the local artists.
Yeah.
I think that's an important part of the festival, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I've headlined other festivals in Montana and River City Roots. It was awesome, you know. Red Ants Pants back that year that Hag played, you know, we headlined that. It's just what I do now. It's not like there's nothing left to prove, you know. And so now it's about putting a band together that can just not be whoever you can throw at a van last minute, but people that actually care about your music and they make it better. And that's cool because I've made some great friends that are musicians here, and they're kind of like my extended family again. Whereas sometimes when you're just road dogging it and you can't find anybody to go on the road with you, you're just like, man, just give me a warm body, dude. Can you play bass a little bit? Let's roll.
Yeah.
And so east side of Glacier, that's become my home. And I'm hoping to play more shows in Whitefish. This is the first time I get to play this place. And it's always been like, man, I want to play here, you know. So tonight,
It's very cool.
I get to play here. And then we'll try to get another gig here. And, you know, hopefully the songs that I wrote, that I lived through, make a difference for people. And I'm just glad to be alive to do it. That's it.
Yeah. The energy in the Northern can get really, really crazy sometimes, like in a good way. You know,
Oh, yeah,
I think you're really
man.
hyping here. I think that you're going to have fun.
We're going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
We had fun at the Blue Moon a couple weekends ago. Had a real good time.
Yeah.
That was just, I don't know what the energy was, but the drunkenness level was way up there.
Well, then that's some kind of energy. Something's happening.
That was,
There's that many drunk
that was
people.
some old drunk cowboys, man. It was fun.
Yeah. How many albums have you recorded, or EPs?
I think I have. So I have Keep What's Left. Then I did the Hurricane EP. Then I did an album called Sharecropper's Wine that I really didn't have the money to produce. It charted in Europe.
Oh, cool.
Probably going to re-release that one this summer because it's got some political songs, but it's well done. I did another album called American Touring Musician that I just never kind of really finished. And then I got the one that is, I've printed up copies and I'm sending out to radio and advance copies, and we've been playing songs from that. It's called Exiles, but it's generally the story of the Acadians being deported and then winding up in Louisiana. So, but that one's done at Dockside Studio, and that's a great studio down in South Louisiana. But anyway, so yeah, I think I probably have 4 or 5. I mean, I got hundreds of songs. That's the deal. But I'm never not writing. So I think it's just time to like try to put together all the a body of songs that I've written in Montana, because I got a bunch of those, and nobody's really putting out albums like they used to. But I like telling a whole story. Like it's like a short story, right? And I think like you can put out singles all day long. That's great. Maybe that's how the industry works now. But I like to sit down with a little book and, you know, the little booklet, read about why you wrote the song, maybe some lyrics, who's on it. So I'm gonna put the time into the Montana one as well, because this place means a lot to me. You know, it's where I healed up from that wreck, and it's home.
You want to play us a song?
I'll try.
All right.
Hey, I'm looking forward to it.
You have a big show?
What's up, man? Who are they? Well, why cower to a tyrant in the kingdom of the free? There it is, come no King's Day. It's gonna roll out all the big guns, put the military on parade, yeah. That sure is queer, this new reality. Gonna make it great again by putting a bunch of soldiers on the street. Heartbreak and chaos, but no real emergency. Our self-inflicted wounded people are the ones that most need. Didn't have to happen, this billionaire's crusade. Greedy tax collector called it a liberation day, saying hit up my old friends, gonna tell them I don't care what you done for me, you're about to pay your share. And if you do not cower, should you not bend the knee, have to find another governor of the 51st colony. We shut down the border, they're fighting on the beat. Say Southern Californians looking more like the Middle East, Lord. But is it really? Really want to make it great, it's gonna take a little more than faith. But how you gonna trust these dunces of the Confederacy, Lord? I miss the USA, hell I miss it every single day. I'm missing people that I used to know, I even miss a Gulf of Mexico. I miss Canadians, I miss my next of kin. I miss believing in the rule of law. Now, doesn't seem there's any rules at all. Did you come here for your freedom? Looking for a 9 to 5? How can a poor man make a living, much less stay alive? As for faith and reason, Lord, they done this in your name, the United Corporation of the Criminal Insane. Yeah. Checked off every balance, either blackmail or a bribe. $5 million for your Trump card now. Can you see the great divide? And did you read that legislation? Another big ass spending bill. Backed it up with useless memes from an AI Facebook shield. Better turn off that computer and take away the phone. Tell your children that you love them for you're dead and gone. Can you hear them marching? Maybe listen what they say. Say a path to freedom for those that can't afford to pay. And don't you hurt nobody, no, with whom you disagree. You ain't got to love each other, but listen to their screams. Oh Lord. bless the USA. You know I miss her every single day. I miss the people that I used to know. I miss the dirty Gulf of Mexico. Now, if you really want to make it great, it's gonna take a little more than faith. Yeah, I'm too tired just to walk away alone, but still I believe. And I miss my next of kin. I miss the way that it's always been, the common sense and the rule of law. So tell me what the hell you fighting for. I guess he bought off all the Christians, but hey, maybe not the Pope. The Supreme and Legislative Lord ain't got no stroke. They always speak of freedom before they take it all away. Yeah. Better vote your conscience, for you nothing left to say. Maybe that ain't funny, baby. Maybe we just disagree now. Why cower to a tyrant in the kingdom of the free? Maybe there be peace without evil. Every neighbor still a friend. No man's king. No man's a king. There it is, about 20 minutes of a song. I'll have to edit that one.
We'll do the high five.
Is that all right?
Yeah, that's great.
A big thanks to our sponsor of this Press Play installment, Under the Big Sky Music Festival, proudly produced by Outriders Present. Join the celebration July 18th through 20th for 3 unforgettable days of music, where Drew Landry will take the stage alongside a powerhouse lineup of Americana, outlaw country, bluegrass, folk, and rock artists. Set against the stunning backdrop of Big Mountain Ranch just outside Whitefish, Montana. This is one summer weekend you won't want to miss. Grab your tickets and learn more at www.underthebigskyfest.com. Catch a special preview of Drew Landry before his set at Under the Big Sky Festival. He'll be performing live in the Daily Interlake Press floor for an intimate lunchtime show on Friday, June 27th. For ticket information, visit www.flatheadtickets.com. And be sure to read Taylor Inman's full feature on Drew on the Daily Interlake's website.
A fire that broke out on a cold and dark February morning in 2024 sent the small northwest Montana town of Knoxon reeling. Beginning in the Angry Beaver General Store on Knoxon Avenue, the conflagration would eventually claim a neighboring restaurant and a storied bar. The town had lost 3/4 of its business community by the day's end. 7 months after the fire, people were still wondering, will Knoxon recover? Can it mount a comeback? What will rise from the ashes?
Stream Season 3 of the Daily Interlakes Deep Dive podcast on your favorite audio platform, or catch the 2-part series on our YouTube channel.